Hey everyone, welcome back to another Coffee with Kittl episode. I'm here with my friend Philip. We both have our coffee. Cheers to the
Good,
cheers
mate.
to the to the glass. We are excited to be talking about illustrations today, art today. Philip is our art director at Kittl, so you're going to see and hear firsthand how we kind of handle the art that you're using in Kittl. So Philip, I'm just going to let you talk a little bit about what you do, and then maybe you want to introduce kind of what we're discussing today, and then we'll just get rolling with it.
So, like Drew already said, I'm the art director of Kittl, and my responsibility is what you guys, when you use Kittl, you see it every time you open the app. It's the library, our elements library, and nearly like I would say 95% of the elements went at some point through my hands, and a lot of. And I just read in a comment that's interesting. Somebody wrote, "I've never seen these elements in the library," and this is also kind of what I'm responsible for, because we produce nearly all of these illustrations by ourselves. By now, we will
Yeah.
speed up the process in a while, and then our library will get much bigger, much faster, and then we'll have a lot of stuff that comes from other artists. But by now, a lot of this stuff is made in-house. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm basically doing. What I'm basically doing there.
Yeah, and I mean it's like almost, if not every day, at least every couple days that I will even like pop in to do something, do an example, record a video, maybe make my own little thing, and I'm like going through and I'm like, this used to not scroll this far. The categories like this used to not, and I was like trying to do a video yesterday and I was like, where are the mascots? And it's because we're adding so many more other like categories of illustrations, which is just insane. It's just insane.
Yeah. And because it is of this huge amount of illustrations, we are trying to improve also the structure. Like you said, you're looking for the mascots and don't find them. Because we are growing constantly, we need to update our concept of structure, and this is also something but we do it in a team. It's not only my work,
Yeah.
And it's getting more complicated, of course, and more complex when we get more.
Absolutely. So today I'm super excited because I've already seen a little bit of the behind the scenes of what we're going to show people today. But what are we going to talk through today? Basically, like if you want to introduce basically the style, the topic, I can share some references. But I'm going to kind of let you talk through the process of how we're going kind of from inspiration for something all the way to an illustration, an asset that you would use in Kittl.
Right. So we start at the topic. It's as you can see, it's Art Nouveau. We have a lot of elements that fit that niche. We have some Art Nouveau flowers. We have some nice ornaments that work pretty good with this style. And today, what you're about to see is these pictures that you're seeing there. They are created by Mucha. He's an Austrian artist. And really famous in the when it comes to Art Nouveau. And I'm sure if you're interested in this kind of style, you have seen some pictures from him. Very characteristic the hairs and the dim colors. And today we'll have you will see how we create an illustration in that kind of style, more contemporary but inspired by this, and how we produce that, make the fine drawing, and then put it into Kittl. You won't see how we put it into Kittl, but you will see the end result that we create.
Yeah, absolutely.
You will see the process until the illustration is ready.
Yeah, awesome. So these are the references we just threw up three, but as Philip mentioned, you can search for this kind of style, or you may have already seen our other styles in Kittl, or you may have downloaded like one of the illustration libraries back from Heritage Typeco. You can get some assets that are very similar to this as well. But yeah, Philip, why don't we kind of show what you have going on for the process video?
This is the illustration that you will see today, how we create it. And when you start drawing, when you draw mixed from imagination and from references, of course, always use references, really important. But for Kittl, the most usable illustrations are illustrations that have a strong shape, you know, that are in
Yeah.
a triangle and in a circle, in a rectangle, because the usability of these illustrations is the highest, because you can put them in every composition that you can think of, right?
Right.
And here you just see me drawing an illustration, the illustration that we're talking about today, and maybe you noticed I deleted it
Yeah.
completely because I wasn't happy with that, what I created there. And when you draw from imagination, you can basically create anything that you like, and if you're not happy with it, you don't have to finish it. You can just throw it away and start again. Use your basic concept that you have in your head, and then go again, you know, until you're happy. And here you see me drawing it really, really rough, right? So I can figure out how the tone is, if it's balanced or not. And when I'm kind of happy, I start making a finer drawing. So I get
Over top. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm really reacting to what I'm doing there. I have a picture in my mind, a pose in my mind, but with every stroke that I draw, I react to that stroke, and the next stroke is related to the first stroke, you know, because you need somehow to create to work with what you're making. So and here you see that I'm really unhappy with the face. I don't know. It didn't work. It wasn't like the expression that I was going for. And you will see me several times during these takes where I'm deleting something completely and putting it new.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, like, yeah, how you're going through the process of, like, trying to get the right facial expression, you know, not just which is like just truly amazing and speaks to how much quality control we go through before something goes in, right? Because you kind of said you have this thing in your mind and you've already done the sketch, you've looked at the references, and you could just do like, let me just refine this sketch, but you're saying like, no, I'm not quite happy with it, so let me actually turn off let me turn off the original sketch in the background and like try to make something a little bit different. So it's interesting to see this kind of process happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And you really need to be flexible when you're drawing and creating something that only you can come up with. And you see, oh, maybe this is not so good. Then you really have to decide to make it again, you know, if you want to be happy. And you also need to find the point where you say, okay, I'm not super happy 100%, but it's fine, you know.
Yeah.
So you can finish it, because this is also a big problem that a lot of artists have, I think, that they can't finish. They are not finishing their work because they are not happy with it, and in the end, it doesn't show. You can't see it anywhere because it's quite good, but the own expectations are too high.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and now you see the end result for the sketch. This is still the sketch, yeah. And we will switch over to the process how we prepare that for Kittl, so that you can switch all the colors and the line thickness and so I mean the contour that you can put around our elements and everything. So here we are, and trying to make this work for Kittl. And on the left you see the inspirations from Mucha, because I look at them quite often, even when I'm doing this fine drawing stuff. And I'm really going here for every line, creating every line like how I think it's good. And so I have, one could say you can automatically make this a vector drawing, right? By just vectorizing it with
Right. Yeah, you could do image trace or use another program or something. Yeah.
And that's absolutely right. You could do that, but you got way more control and way more cleaner lines when you do this manually. I mean, you could make it the best out of two worlds. You can trace it and then just delete the stuff that you think is bad and just do the rest by hand. So you have that little control that you need. But for this video, I thought we go through the whole process, and yeah, so you can see what we're doing here for like most of our illustrations are created this way.
Yeah, and it's crazy, and I want everybody to notice that, like, using the sketch in the background as like its own reference, because you're not actually vectorizing, so to speak, drawing the vector line work in every single line. You know what I mean? Like, you're leaving some space or some gaps or whatever, so that this character works one in a vector uh, environment, basically, and is going to work well in Kittl. So I really enjoy seeing how you went from reference to then drawing a rough sketch to then making that sketch better,
Yeah,
and then you could easily hit one of those one-stop shop, go maybe change some colors, delete stuff, but um, you're talking about control and how you have a lot more control when you do it yourself like this again. um, so, like, in this process, what are you thinking about when you're placing these lines, looking at that reference in the back? Like, where are you deciding, like, this one's work, but I'm going to leave a gap here, this one's okay, but that
yeah.
kind of thing?
I think about mostly light and shadows. So if you thicken a line or make it thinner, it's a slight shadow or a slightly lighter space in the illustration. When you see it as a three-dimensional object, when you make these lines, the thickness really depends on what you think where the light is coming from. And when you take a photo of a really black and white, like super black and super white picture, you basically just see contours and stuff, right? And this is more or less the same. But this, of course, doesn't look like a photo, sure. But the idea behind it is pretty comparable. And if you look at that, I don't know if it's really visible right now, but a lot of these lines look much more related to the space that they are in the three-dimensional space than they did in the sketch, and they are much more precise, and the expression of the face is a lot more
Emphasize. It's almost more emphasized. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So and this is, if you do this automatically, you will never have the you will never be able to create that.
Yeah. I've encountered that, because, like, the one for one, image trace, or like using vectorizer or something like that. Um, Sometimes if I'm doing something really, really simple, like just an icon, then yeah, I mean, you can get a pretty accurate, pictogram or something, and then go in and refine it. But something like this, where you're really wanting to convey emotion and expression, I've never encountered a super pleasing experience with drawing an elaborate animal, or like a caricature or something like that, and then hitting go on trace, and then it like just blows out, like it blows out something. So it's almost like you're gonna do the editing work after the fact anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you can draw with very high resolution, and you can make your lines with pixels like also really perfect. But I think it's more work actually, and less controllable if you do it like that. And for me, sometimes when I make a clean drawing, I start directly with Illustrator, because it saves time. It's also very important for the industry that you find a workflow that is quite fast. And actually, this one that we're looking at here isn't that fast. It took me, like, from the sketch to the final result, took me like 4 hours. And for industry standards, that's okay, but you could make it a lot faster. And
to me, that's really fast. I thought maybe you did a little bit like this time, and then, like, you did a little bit the next day and a little bit the next day. Like, that's pretty crazy that it's for me anyway, that for it to only be 4 hours from sketch to being prep ready would be pretty awesome.
yeah, I mean, you can make it, maybe it's also 5. I make some breaks in between, and I
Sure.
don't really stop the time when I'm working like every day, so
Right.
I'm doing this, actually I'm doing now stuff like that, not really, because I'm more like a supervising person in our company, right? But sometimes I do I do the illustrations myself, like this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
really,
mean,
really nice for me to do that because yeah, I mean, it's not so common that you have the time for that, you know.
yeah, I totally get it. It's probably feels like a little bit refreshing, and then like,
Yeah,
you know, if it's something
absolutely.
different or new, it's like challenging at the same time, which is also really cool. And
Yeah.
then what's even more special is you get to see how people are going to use the elements in Kittl, which I think is super interesting. You know, like
Dude, it makes me so happy to see people use our illustrations because we really put a lot of effort in them, and we really go for a good quality. And when people appreciate that, it's really nice for us to see that, you know.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, hopefully everybody watching right now is looking at just how wild this is. Like for me, this is definitely like a ton of just attention to detail. And of course, you know, you've been at this for a very long time, you know, so it's like it's kind of coming second nature with this like thought you have in your head where you're like, okay, this needs to be like this needs to be like this. But
Mm.
for the people that are watching and checking this out, hopefully they're realizing just like how much we care about the assets that are in Kittl. It's not like we're just going and finding a bunch of stuff somewhere else and preloading it. Like we're making really truly custom things for you to have the best experience possible, and then use it in a variety of ways that like even thinking of, you know, which then inspires us to make even more stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kittl itself, Kittl, not only the illustrations, the whole app and the whole company is really a passion project. I mean,
Absolutely.
we started with heritage type, and a lot of people that are watching right now might know this. And it was always about doing creating high quality content, but also being passionate about it, you know. And yeah, it's great if you can do a job like this, and it's great. It's even greater when people are having a real benefit from this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with now that we're like jumped into the color area here, where did you decide to go with that? You know what I mean? Like where did the color structure come? Where, you know, obviously you're using those references that you
Yeah.
had on the left and that I showed. Here again, I can kind of show some of those references. But like, where did the colors come from for what you decided to do?
I'm thinking of the topic, what I'm doing this for, and I think about more posters. So I want bright colors. I want something that's like here you can see the final result maybe of what we could create in Kittl, and the colors are definitely different that you see there. And in the end, the file that will be uploaded, I think maybe after this video, that you can use, you will be able to use these illustrations and many more in that style when you see this.
Yeah.
We will change the colors accordingly to the use. And when we think, okay, these illustrations fit perfectly for a poster for a stoner rock festival, you know, or something like that, or like general posters for music bands, or I don't know, vinyl covers or something like that, we will find colors for that fit the topic. And we are actually not so sure sometimes which colors should we pick, because you can, as a user, you can change the colors anyways. It's totally your choice.
Yeah, that's I just realized, like, after I asked you that, I was like, well, they're gonna, if they want the person to be purple, I guess they could make it.
Definitely, you can change the color however you want, and that's also what we want. That you take the elements and make them really yours, and you can take our colors, of course, and we have put some thought in these colors, sure.
Yeah.
But it's about the customizability. And this is why this whole process is actually necessary, why we make the illustrations how we make them, so you as a user can take them and change everything, like colors and outline and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that's some of the favorite videos that I do are just the quick ones where I can show a new category of illustrations. Like I mentioned to you earlier, I was looking for the mascots yesterday. The Tuesday's video, I showed how you can find all the Halloween illustrations that we now have. And some of I know they're short, they're only 2-3 minutes, and they're for people that maybe don't even know about Kittl to find us on YouTube. And some of my favorite time to myself and just recording is pulling over illustrations and then wondering, ooh, I wonder how many colors I can change. Like there's a pumpkin that has like smoke coming out of the eyes, and like you can change the smoke color and you can change the outline of the smoke color and you can change 2 shades in the pumpkin. Like I remember showing that in that video. I was like, look how much, look, you could totally make this something different to like, it's never ever going to be a 1-for-1. Like you can make it really how you want it. And so like if you wanted this person to have white hair, a off purplish skin tone and red eyes, you could do it. You know what I mean? Like for whatever kind of space
Definitely.
world you've come up with, you could do it.
Yeah,
So
right.
I mean, this is like hopefully, again, I know I've said it several times. I'm like getting excited for these to come into Kittl, and however many more there are going to be in just all the different styles. But hopefully people are getting excited to go and use these illustrations in new ways and things like that. Like I mean, I know that it's, maybe for some people maybe not as interesting. They're like, yeah, that's cool, you kind of sketched it. But for a lot of people, I think they are going to truly get value from seeing how we do things behind the scenes and how much care and craft we're putting into these illustrations and things like that.
Yeah.
So as we kind of land the plane here, are there any thoughts in your head, anything you want to say to the Kittl users?
Yeah, well, I think it would be really cool because I do illustration for like all of my life, and I was as a child I was somehow bored, and my mother told me just draw something, and I never stopped, and I would be super happy if our users try to use their own illustrations and try to illustrate on themselves by themselves, even if it's just naive drawings. They have also very high quality, like small drawings that are just have some vibes to them, and I would be really happy to see people draw more and then use it in Kittl and see the result of that. That would be super cool.
Yeah, that truly would be awesome. And one way that you can do that really easily, everyone that's watching, is if you go down in the description, you can join the Discord. We have a Kittl Discord, and I'm there almost instantaneously. So if you need something and you want to get my attention super fast, that's the place to do it. I've also got my friend Sam over there doing customer support. He's amazing. He's been kind of in Kittl since the beginning. Shout out to Sam. He can help you with quick questions, and if you want to see something, I can easily get it to Philip if you join the Discord. Of course, you can tag us on social and Facebook and things like that, but the Discord is a little bit more of the personal community, because like I always kind of have it on my phone. People are always sharing like their Etsy shop with their designs or stuff. So definitely, if you're going to take Philip's advice and draw some stuff, I'd love to see it in the Discord so I can show him. And then you can easily upload with that upload feature in Kittl. You can upload your own. I do it all the time. Like if I'm going to post something on Instagram, I love the texture ability in Kittl. So maybe I'll draw something really naive, kind of like you said, like an outline or something, upload it into Kittl, and then boom, I can add some really cool paper effects, all this sort of stuff. You could really use like Kittl for, I guess, pretty much anything. But yeah, I think that would be really, really cool to see. Sweet. Well, Philip, thank you so much for taking the time to just hang out and show us the process that's going through these illustrations, all the way from basically conception to like finalization. Like in Kittl is like we have this inspiration, then we have this sketch, then we have this vector, then we have quality check, then we have all the way into Kittl. So thank you so much. Of course, guys, subscribe to Kittl, join the Discord, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bye, guys.